Should be everything good to go. Yep. Okay. Hello everyone. I'm playing Xenoblade 2, as you can see here. I had been replaying Xenoblade 1, but I finished my replay of it, so I decided to just jump into 2. I'm actually doing this a little different than normally how I replay the series when I decide to replay the entire series. Which, for those of you who don't know me, that is a common occurrence. This is one of my comfort series. I replay it all the time. Xenoblade 1 is my favorite game of all time. But normally what I do is I replay Torna and then I go straight into Xenoblade 2. But this time I'm daring myself to do Takahashi's recommended play order, which is Xenoblade 2 up until Moratha and then Torna and then the rest of Xenoblade 2. Which I think is incredibly unhinged, but we'll give it a shot. But you guys don't have to worry about anything that level of spoilers. I am at the very, very beginning of Chapter 3. I haven't even left Gormat yet, so I'm still super, super early on in the game. I'm only like 14 or 15 hours in. But yeah, I woke up and was like, I want to play Xenoblade, and my knees don't hurt too terribly bad at the moment, so we're gonna stream Xenoblade. So, my Nintendo Switch is glitching out and saying that I've never played this game before in the fucking profile hours, which is, I think, is really annoying. But I've beaten Xenoblade 2 at least 9 times. Probably more than that. Almost assuredly more than that. But yeah, I'm still in Gormott. I believe I just finished most of the side quests here. Nope. So, Umon's ship is the one I'm doing. That's the story quest to leave. And this is the DLC quest to go to Argentum. So, I'll take care of that really quick. Argentum is the first Titan you start out on. Well, technically you start out on Gramps, but eventually it's Argentum. But I don't really count Argentum as the first area of the game, because there's like 2 enemies to fight in the entire province, and calling it a province, I feel, is a bit of a, like... It doesn't feel like a full province. It's like a marketplace. It's a big marketplace, but like there's not really a whole lot to do in Argentum. So I usually consider Gormott the first province. It's roughly equivalent to Bionis Neve for people who know Xenoblade 1. Or Primordia for people who know Xenoblade X, which, weirdly enough, might actually be more people, considering XDE just came out. It's like the one and only time I think I'll ever be able to say that about Xenoblade X. That's not exactly what happened. I gotta show how Rex is like, what? Okay. Okay, now I have done all of the side quests in Gormott, at least that I have access to at this time. Also, I'm noticing that my screen here is not quite great. I'm noticing that the exchange in Central Exchange is cut off. Come on. There we go. Sorry about that. I don't know if any of that will show up for the TV for what I was just doing, but I was fiddling with the aspect ratio and settings on my TV trying to fix it.
Let's show them a thing or three.
But yeah, these are like the only 2 enemies. You can also do a salvaging thing to get another enemy, but like that's pretty much it right there. Rosalie Dazzly have the... No, sorry, Rosalie Dazzly. One of these Nopon have the core crystal I'm looking for. I already got Corvin's. I'm looking for the other one, but I can never remember where you get the other one. It's not important. The other one is for a healing blade, which is good to put on Nia. But again, I'm not seeing them. Not Max, I know that. Oh, it might actually say on the expansion pass. Boat or lounge, okay. I think her name is... Or is it Crossette? Or is Crossette a different thing? She's like a fireworks girl. She uses the soccer ball weapon. Here you are. Hurry, Scurry. Don't worry, you'll get 4.5 stars. I'll get right on that. Anyway. Unfortunately, I don't have my favorite blade yet in this run, which is a little unfortunate. Which is, Perun. Perun is my favorite rare blade. And yes, I did in fact use all of the rare, legendary, and common blades you get from the DLC trying to pull her and didn't. I have a lot of complicated feelings on Xenoblade 2, but the gacha aspect, I know it's free and you don't actually have to spend money, but it's still just annoying.
Crossette's the name. Guys, I won't let you down.
Also, it's worth mentioning I'm streaming this on the Switch 1. I am a broke... Crossette. That is her name. I'm playing this on a Switch 1, not a Switch 2, because I am a broke bitch and can't afford a Switch 2, so I don't have one.
I won't let you down.
But yeah, she is a fire healing blade, so she's good to put on Nia. Of course, I'm not going to put her on Nia right now, because I actually currently have a fire blade in Pyra, and I'd like to not double up on elements if I can avoid it. However, in Chapter 3, there is a period of time where you lose Pyra. It's not a long period of time, but Chapter 3, there's a small moment, and in Chapter 4, you have to go a bit longer without access to her, so she's good to have for then. Also, I keep pressing Y to fast travel because I was just playing Xenoblade 1, and Y is the fast travel button in Xenoblade 1, but it's fine. I'm fast traveling to Torrigoth because this is one of the things that I hope gets addressed with the Switch 2. I haven't played it on the Switch 2 because, again, I don't have one, but there's a really, really bad FPS issue with Xenoblade 2, and Torrigoth is like the worst example of it. It's actually not happening too badly right now, but that might just because I just loaded up the game. It's a memory leak issue, so the longer you play the game, the worse the performance gets. And Torrigoth is one of the really big noticeable instances of it. You might also have noticed as soon as I fast traveled here that there was that like really low quality, like N64 terrain going on. That's another big issue people have with Xenoblade 2. That one doesn't bother me as much, because believe it or not, it's actually a lot better than it used to be.
Onwards.
I got this game at launch. I actually owned the special edition. I still technically do own it. It's just in a storage
it'll be something
unit.
good.
I just have the game card with me. But back at launch, it was so much worse. Like, they did patch this game quite a few times after it came out. it's still in a pretty rough position, and not all of the patches were good patches. Like, they got rid of one of my favorite dialogue lines, and they, like, shortened it down in a way that I think is actually a lot worse. But for the most part, Xenoblade 2 is one of those games that I love, but I can't immediately recommend it to people. There's a lot of cringe story moments. The character designs can be off-putting for people. They don't bother me, but I know a lot of people really don't like the character designs in this. It's got some technical problems, but like, if you can put aside the fact that it frequently flips over to absolute cringe, the majority of the game is peak anime super robots, so like,
Come out.
for the most part I think Xenoblade 2 is a good game and worth it, but it's not a game that I can immediately recommend to someone. Normally if people are like, hey, what Xenoblade game should I start with? I'm like, play Xenoblade 1.
Come out.
For a while, I kind of had to recommend Xenoblade 2, but even then, that stopped really, really quickly because Torna came out and was a standalone prequel. So for a while, actually, what I would normally say is if you want to get into Xenoblade, but don't want to put in a big time commitment or a big money sink, I would recommend people get Torna, the standalone physical version specifically, because it is completely standalone. Like, you can play Torna, and the only thing you're missing out on is the little bit of, like, all-rest exposition that Rex gives at the very start of Xenoblade 2. Where he, like, explains what all-rest is. So you're kind of dropped in the deep end in terms of, like, the Cloud Sea and exposition and stuff like that. But that's all stuff that's easy to figure out just by, like, experiencing the world. Like, all you have to do is go to the edge of Torna when you go to cross over to Gormott, and you see the Cloud Sea to know that there's a Cloud Sea.
No!
Like,
You lost the upper hand!
Torna to me is the best starting point because it's only 40 hours and it's completely standalone. And that was my opinion up until Xenoblade 1 Definitive Edition came out. I still think in terms of, like, if someone is put off by the prospect of a 100-hour JRPG, you'll probably have an easier time selling Torna. But I don't think they ever reprinted Torna, so like, it's harder to get access to the standalone version of Torna now. Oh, here's the frame rate drop I was talking about. Getting real chunky here. In terms of gameplay, Xenoblade 2 is extremely different from Xenoblade 1. For people who don't know, every Xenoblade game plays very, very different from the ones that came before and after it. There's two big camps for Xenoblade gameplay. There is the Xenoblade 1 likes and the Xenoblade 2 likes. 1 and X are the Xenoblade 1 likes, and 2 and 3 are the Xenoblade 2 likes. But even that is doing a very big disservice to their individual mechanics and stuff. It's an extremely reductive way of breaking it down. But if you saw my streams of Xenoblade 3, which I don't know if I'm going to continue, I keep saying I'm going to, but like, it's hard to stream a game for a couple times with no viewers, not stream it for multiple months, and then be like, yeah, I'm gonna pick it up right back to where it was at. So, I don't know. I want to say I'm going to. I want to say that I will, but realistically I don't know if I'm going to continue or not, but that's completely obsessed point. I'm totally fucked for this battle, by the way. There's too many. Right, the gameplay. So, Xenoblade 1, there isn't art canceling. You have 8 palettes as an 8 art palette as opposed to the 4 art that you get with Xenoblade 2. And things recharge over time with each individual art being on a timer rather than by auto attacks. The big main difference is also in the auto attacks. So, like, the character 7, who is the biggest spoiler that nobody treats as a spoiler in the franchise, including other games in the series, her character gimmick in Xenoblade 1 is that she has the highest auto attack damage possible, and you can very, very easily build her to have, like, max agility, max haste, max double attack, and all that, as well as giving her skills for, like, crit healing, and there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with her. That's a lot harder to do in Xenoblade 2, because auto attacks always come in sets of 3. The first one is always the weakest, and the last one is always the strongest. But you're not supposed to use the auto attacks for damage. There's also some stuff you can do, like stutter stepping, where you flick the stick after the first attack to, like, almost immediately do the first attack again. You won't get the 1, 2, 3, third hit being the hardest. It'll just be 3 hits of the one. In fact, I'll just show you here.
Okay, time to
and the main
take
utility
you down.
of it is you can do it to quickly increase your art gauge. Because unlike Xenoblade 1, where you have access to every art by default, in Xenoblade 2, you have to unlock which arts you have access to at the start of the battle. You don't even get one unlocked by default. You have to, like, unlock them in your character's affinity chart.
You'll want to talk.
So, like, I won't be able to use Y until I have another 1,500, roughly, skill points, and that's not going to be a quick process. And that's assuming I don't buy any other perks and I just go immediately straight for that one, which isn't always the best idea. It's usually a good idea, in my opinion, but it's not necessarily the best idea. So, the auto attacks are mostly used for gaining your art charges, and if you cancel an art or a special off of a auto attack, you'll increase the damage. And there's some other benefits with it as well. But yeah, that's the main difference. That you have individual blades you can set. So each blade has a different weapon that's different from just having, like, a set weapon. Like, this is Rex's sword when he's equipped with an Aegis. This is Rex's sword when he's equipped with a Chroma Katana. And, like, if I were to give this blade Percival over to Nia, her moveset with the Chroma Katana is completely different from Rex's. She has different arts, different playstyle, different auto attack speeds, different combos, all of that. So, like, Xenoblade 2 has a very, very in-depth battle system, but the downside to it is the game's tutorials are terrible. So, like, it's a learn as you do, or learn from other people telling you kind of game. Because the tutorials aren't great. They work for the most part, but, like, if you don't actually take the time to learn what you're doing, you'll definitely struggle with some of the later game bosses. Like, I know the chapter, I think it's 6 fight. Yeah, I think it's the chapter 6 fight, the one in the tomb. A lot of people just hate that fight, because there's a very specific thing you have to do in order to win that fight, and if you don't do that very specific thing, the fight will literally go on forever until you die. So, like, Xenoblade 2 is that kind of game. Whereas Xenoblade 1, I think, well, there are some mechanics in Xenoblade 1 that you have to learn and be aware of, otherwise they'll catch you off guard. Like, if you don't prepare yourself to deal with spike damage, and you're just used to break topple dazing everything you fight, and then suddenly you get to Magna Force and people start having spike damage, that's a bad time because you just haven't learned how to play the game properly, so you're not prepared for it.
Treasure acquired.
But in the case of Xenoblade 2, it's more like this specific thing is a gimmick that you have to be aware of, and you'll eventually be quizzed on it, kind of thing. I'm not explaining it well, but people who played Xenoblade 2, you'll know what I mean. That first playthrough can be kind of rough. And again, I played this at launch before there was, like, common tips and stuff. So I have a lot better of an idea of what I'm doing now that I've beaten the game a couple of times, more than a couple of times, than I did back on Switch launch day. Or, I guess it wasn't the Switch's launch day, it was the Switch's launch year. If I remember correctly, it came out either in December or late November, I want to say. I think it's December. Because I remember it was like right around Christmas.
So now we borrow Uncle Pond's boat.
Thanks, Simon. We owe you.
Indeed! Enjoy your boaty jaunt!
Hopefully the volume is good on the Switch. I noticed from my OBS, the video capture device screen bars were pretty low, so I clicked it up almost all the way into the yellow. So hopefully it sounds good and isn't peaking.
So that's the World Tree.
Whoa, I've never seen it so close before.
Me neither, to tell you the truth. But it's just as awesome as I'd hoped.
The current's really strong. Fall in that, and you're a goner.
It's great that we made it this far. But how do we get over there? Any ideas?
Just jump across.
Pyra? Huh?
Rex, we need to leave. We can't stay here.
What? Why? What are you talking about, Pyra?
Legally distinct Jormungandr.
Ophion!
Ophi who?
Quick!
Huh? Gotcha!
Ophion, stop this. What's wrong? Can't you hear me? It can't be.
What was that?
It comes so close to making an infinity symbol there, and I wish it did, just so I could pop off and be like, look, Xenoblade 3 foreshadowing. I mean, then again, you could point out Uriah and say Xenoblade 3 foreshadowing.
Is that Uriah's Titan?
Also, hey look, Xenoblade, it's a Xeno game, biblical references.
This is not good! Ah, here it comes!
I do really like Uriah, and that's part of why I wanted to stream Xenoblade 2, is just to show off Uriah. It is not my favorite Titan. My favorite Titan is Tantal. But it is a very close second.
Oh,
Pyra? Anybody?
I'm here.
You hurt?
No. I'm
I like how the
fine.
ether lines on blades make them glow in the dark.
Meh.
Oh look, it's nighttime.
Looks like we're all
and
okay.
I started glowing. I'm a bit self-conscious. That's like one of my
Except for the
favorite
fact
post-op
that we now
dialogues.
find ourselves in the belly of the beast.
The beastie's belly?
This is the inside of the Urian Titan.
Meh, meh.
Look,
Tora think this not nice place.
Is that how we're gonna end up?
Hey, Rex, don't jinx us.
Everyone, shouldn't we try to get out of here? If I recall, the Orions live towards the beast's back. There must be a way up there.
Yeah. Can't hang around here for sure.
Over there.
Huh?
Poppy sees something over there. Someone coming this way.
For real? Maybe you're just seeing things.
Poppy is certain. Something is flickering over there.
Flickering? You say? Some kind of ghost, maybe?
Shut up.
That
There's no
animation
such
with
thing.
Rex always looks so silly
Mia,
to me.
you're not scared, surely?
Don't talk nonsense, Rex. I'm not a kid.
You're scared. At last, something Nia's scared of.
Just you watch. Hey, where's Pyra?
What?
Pyra's missing.
But she was right here. Pyra? Pyra!
Hey, what's up?
Ah! Hey, what's the big idea? Don't wander off like that.
Nothing, really. I was just taking a look around. What's the matter?
What's so funny?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, Titan's fault.
Oh, things are looking brighter already.
Poppy can help too.
Now even more brighter.
I do love the way
You two
Tora
are so
looks. He
sneaky,
looks like a
Nicky.
giant plushie. I think it's
I
adorable.
wish I could say the
I don't
same
really
for
like
Joe
Tora
Lucky.
as like a person.
Apologies,
His
my lady.
personality is
See?
questionable.
Not so scary when you can actually see. Let's
But
find
he
the
does have
exit.
some of my favorite quotes, like Tora flat broke like penniless pancake is unironically a phrase me and my best friend use in our day-to-day life, like, constantly. We'll be like, hey, do you want to go out to eat? And I'm like, Lily flat broke like penniless pancake, and she'll be like, understood.
Treasure acquired. Huh. What have we here?
Did I actually pick up any new... Oh, tricolor rocks. I do actually need those for a side quest here. Those are good to hold on to. I do have 3. So I'll show you guys what the regular common blades look like, because I'm almost assuredly not going to get my favorite blade here. It'd be fucking cool if I did. I hope I get Purim. But I pulled, like, all of the common, rare, and legendary blades that I had last night and wasn't able to get her, so... Again, for those who it's unclear for, this is a gacha system. However, it is a 100% free gacha. At least insofar as not having microtransactions. Like, you have to buy the game. You have to buy Xenoblade 2.
Guide you to victory.
And you have to buy the Switch or Switch 2 or Switch Lite or Switch OLED to play it on. But the actual gacha mechanic, these common core crystals, the 3 Cs, you don't need to, like, pay $5.99 to get 20 of those. You get them from, like, quests and chests and defeating enemies and stuff. They're an in-game reward, not a pay-to-win kind of thing. Unfortunately, you don't really have any control over what blades you get. There are a few core crystals that are explicitly tied to specific blades and will only ever awaken that blade, but those ones there's usually like a thing you have to do to get them. They're like a secret reward for following up on an informant who told you about it, or spending $100,000 or $500,000 to pick up an old antique, that kind of thing. Most of the rare blades come from just complete randomness. The common blades, these have all been commons so far, have a couple of different designs and a couple of different variations of those designs. and they can use basically any weapon that isn't a character-specific one. So, like, you're not gonna get a common blade with an Aegis sword, and you're not gonna get a common blade with the whip swords. Ironically, the one exception to this is Dromark, who is Nia's personal rare blade. His twin rings are a common weapon, so, like, a bunch of other beasts also have those. But I think the moveset is different. I'm not actually 100% sure. It might not be. It might literally just be the exact same. But yeah, I did not get the blade I wanted. These are the ones I have so far. So I got really lucky in that my first rare blade I opened was fucking Telos. That happened to me on my last run as well. And I don't know why this keeps happening, but this is now the second time the first blade I've pulled has been Telos. I've still never pulled Cosmos in any of my playthroughs. I hope that happens at some point, but yeah, I get Telos a lot. I did have her on Rex for a while, but Rex's axe moveset is so slow, so I'm planning on transferring her over to Morag. Then I've got Dahlia, which, Dahlia, for the people who don't know, she is the character everyone points to when they're like, oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with Xenoblade 1's character designs? It's Dahlia, usually, that they're talking about. I don't think she's that bad, but you can see why people say that. Florin, he's, I guess technically, is a decent healer. I keep him on Nia, but again, I don't like to have elemental coverage or overlap too much. Earth isn't a bad one to have a double up on, because one of the combos is Earth, Lightning, Earth, but my Lightning Blade is Korra, who is currently Nia's ult, and I don't believe I have any, I don't have any other rare Lightning Blades as an alternative. I could put Nim on Rex, and I actually did have that for a little bit. Nim, I think, was like my third or fourth rare blade I pulled. But yeah, right now I have Pyra, because you can't change out the, like, default blades on a first playthrough. I could have done New Game Plus, but I don't like doing New Game Plus in Xenoblade, because I think it isn't fun. Out of all of the New Game Pluses, I think Xenoblade 2's is the best New Game Plus. But I don't like just one-hit killing literally everything in sight. I like there to be at least some gameplay. So, but in Xenoblade 2, playing New Game Plus, you get a couple new rare blades that you don't have access to. And part of the DLC you can take in your main party without needing to beat the game first. Which, I know that's a weird statement because you have to be in New Game Plus in order to do it, so you need to be in the game once in order to do it, but basically, in order to use Shulk, Fiora, and Elma throughout the main story of Xenoblade 2, you need to have beaten the final boss in order to unlock the secret challenges that unlock them for regular gameplay outside of the land challenge. And if you have beaten that challenge and you have what you need, you'll be able to take Shulk, Fiora, and Elma through the regular story mode of a New Game Plus. I don't have access to them yet, so I haven't talked about it, but chain attacks in Xenoblade 2 are also really different, but anyone who's played Xenoblade should know that chain attacks are different in literally every single game. They're, like, even different expansion to expansion, pretty much. So, like, I think Orna and Xenoblade 2 chain attacks were mostly the same, but they're a little more rigid in the sense of, like, you don't have as much party member customization in Torna, because there aren't rare, common, and legendary core crystals and all that. You just have the party, not any, like, additional blades. But, I mean, I guess even then, the final boss of Torna has a unique chain attack mechanic, so I guess you could argue that even that's the back end But Xenoblade 1 and Future Connected chain attacks work completely differently. Xenoblade 2 and Torna, they work differently for that one fight, and both work very different from one. These notoriously work extremely different, nobody could figure them out for a moment. Future Future Redeem. I don't remember Future Redeem actually does have it. I guess you can kind of say it does, because it's like the tactics manuals and shit, right? That like customize what each character does. I guess you can say that. I guess Future Redeemed, out of all of them, it's the closest to its original. And then Xenoblade X just doesn't have chain attacks at all. It has overdrive
Flora
instead.
heals an aching soul.
Which, overdrive is an entire can of worms. Like, people who think Xenoblade 3's chain attack was needlessly complicated and hard to figure out have no idea the pain of Xenoblade X when it came out, trying to figure out what the fuck overdrive did. Although I will say, having replayed Xenoblade 1 and specifically Future Connected since Xenoblade X in Chapter 13, or Xenoblade X in Chapter 13 came out, was kind of neat. I noticed some more foreshadowing stuff that I think is kind of cool. I won't talk about it because I just had no spoilers, and this is on no spoilers, but like, there's some dialogue, especially in Future Connected, that you could very easily attribute to dialogue in Chapter 13. I think that's cool. There's also some stuff with like Nelia's brother and Revelations with like Hero and how things in the final boss of XDE work that you can like retroactively apply to Xenoblade 1 to get like a fuller understanding. It's cool. Stuff like that is one of the biggest reasons why I love this franchise.
Time to take you down.
It has like the best example of retcons to me, because like most retcons that happen in this series, I would say are good ones. I won't say all of them are good ones. Like, I feel like some of the stuff with XDE's Chapter 13 wasn't quite great. Like, I know concept art is just concept art, but I feel like the old Roth stuff was the original intent and not what was actually the revelation.
Now, let's show them what we're really made of.
For that specific thing, that if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, then it doesn't matter, because it's not what's in the game anyway. But for the most part, I really liked Chapter 13. But I honestly think I liked Chapter 13 more than most people I've seen online. I know the pizza moment really turned a lot of people off, but I think, like, I can see why that turned people off, but I also think, given who the character was and what we know about them, the pizza Karen moment was fucking funny. Like, low-key, if I was in that position, the first thing I would do is go get a pizza, and if I was told I couldn't have a pizza, and to requisition the local military to find cheese so I could make one at home, I think I would also have a bit of a Karen moment. So, like, but yeah, I love this franchise. I've always loved Xeno. I like Xeno Saga a little bit less, and I like Xeno Gears a little bit less than I like Xenoblade, but that's literally just because I started with Xenoblade, specifically Xenoblade 1 on the Wii. So I've been around this franchise for a while. I'm sorry I'm not really, like, explaining the story or, like, stuff like that. But when I do that, I tend to go off on tangents in case that wasn't apparent by the fact I've been on a tangent this entire time talking to myself. But I'm trying really hard not to go into, like, proper people will get upset with me if I talk about them spoilers. And when I talk about the settings and world of Xenoblade, I usually have to, like, include the context of those spoiler things to, like, clarify what I'm talking about. Doesn't Corvin have...
Easy peasy.
I could have taken them all
Corvin
on.
has a Smash art, doesn't he? Yes, he does. Starfall. Why aren't I using Corvin then? I mean, he's
Okay,
kind of just
where are we
a
up to?
busted blade anyway. Oh, right, because I was leveling up, other Percival's, affinity. But that's fine, I can switch over to Corvin. So, what I want to do is... Enhance arts. Here's a little trick, though. You know how I was mentioning earlier that you can't set an art to be unusable from the start? You have to unlock it, and then once you do yada yada yada. Well, you can swap what art you want to be where. So, like, this 11-hit recharge smash art that I was just talking about, I can just swap it with this one, and then I'll have access to the entire driver combo from the start of the fight. Like, yeah. So the only downside is I'm going to have to wait for Nia to use her launch art. And the problem with that is Drommark here is a break. She has to then charge up and switch to Korra in order to use her launch. So she'll break, he'll topple, and then we won't be able to launch and I won't be able to smash. But we'll have access to the full combo at least. There's a boss down there, but I'm not strong enough to fight it yet. It's an Arachno boss.
Let's show him a thing or three.
No, you fight Poppy.
This early bit of Uriah is sort of analogous to Tephra Cave. Sort of. Like, Xenoblade 2 and Xenoblade 1 are fairly analogous, and there's an actual reason for that, like, in-universe. It's kind of cool, which is why I'm not going into it, because it's a big spoiler. But, like, they're not exactly one to one. They're very similar in terms of, like, the progression of places and plot. But, like, Gormount is the sort of Bionicene, and this is sort of Tephra Cave. So if it were an exact parallel, you would have gone here first, and then... But Uriah is also sort of Satoral Marsh, so it also sort of takes place after, if that makes sense. You'll see what I mean. Also, this is another bad instance of my turning outnumbered. That's the thing you have to be careful of in every Xenoblade game, to be entirely fair about a specific thing. There are some games where it's definitely a bigger problem than others. Like, it's not too big a deal in Xenoblade 1 if you've got like 5 dudes attacking you, especially if you've got a good build going on, like you've done then dodge and tanking everything, that don't use a lot of speed. With like Xenoblade X, if you have like 7 enemies attacking you at the same time, and you don't have a specific like infinite overdrive build going, then you're in for a bad time. But like, that's kind of applicable for every game, right? Like, if you know what you're doing, you can pretty easily break the game to the point where there's no difficulty whatsoever.
Sometime, Pyra?
I'll think about it next time, Zerda.
People might look at you funny though, so watch out. Okay, time to take you down.
Tora hungry and coming for them.
I will say, I prefer time to fight over battle exclamation. I understand why people like this battle theme more. It's a good battle theme. I just personally prefer time to fight. It's more nostalgic for me.
Tora will do it. Great.
Let's keep this up. Let's get rowdy.
Good. Poppy will protect Master
I
Paw.
suppose another good reason to give
Anchor shot.
You don't stand a chance against us. Poppy will protect Master Paw.
No one can stop us now.
Kata.
if I could change or be a specialist, but
Prominence.
I kind of like it.
I shall defend you to the last, my lady.
But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of customization you can do in Xenoblade 2.
Wow! World has many amazing places in it!
Perhaps rest and enjoy view for a bit.
There's some kind of dim light.
If I remember, the Urian Titan has a translucent hide. I bet that'll be the light filtering through.
So, the Titan must be above the clouds now.
I dare say.
If we can make it to the source of the light, maybe we'll find a way out of here.
Hold it!
You guys might remember this dude's voice actor, as well as name and name of his friends and their voice actors. There's a
Looks like a bunch of
out-of-universe
mushes I
meta
ain't
joke
seen
thing
yet.
going on here.
You gotta have pretty damn bad luck ending up in a Titan's guts like this. Huh? That blade! An emerald core crystal. So, the rumors are true.
Huh? What rumors?
The tale that every driver worth his salt knows. The legendary Aegis. Folks been saying she just woke up from a 500-year nap. Wouldn't have thought she'd show up with a pencil-neck shrimp like you for a driver, though.
You think I don't have what it takes?
No, I mean, maybe you could handle a normal blade. But a greenhorn like you, with a beaut like her, don't kid yourself. Come on, boy. Hand her over to a grown-up.
This crap is getting old. Leave her alone.
You got heart, kid. I like that. You, Zuo, you take care of the others. I want to squash the kid.
Leave it to us, boss.
We'll take real good care of him.
Okay, so, going to explain the thing here. So, those are not the same three characters from Xenoblade 3. Putting that out here right now. They have the same name, same voice actors, and roughly the same design. But they are not the same characters. What's happening is, you and Zuo are new OCs to Xenoblade 2 that decided to come back for Xenoblade 3. They're entirely different people. The names just happen to be the same for some reason. They're literally never explained. Vandom becomes the family name for one of the founders. So that's like an entirely separate thing to this fandom. Though again, the name connection isn't explicitly explained. However, there is a Van character in every single Xeno game. In Xenogears, it's Vanderkam, I believe. In Xenosaga, it's Vandercom or something like that. It's like very similar, but I think there's like 2 letters that are different from what I remember. I've only played Xenosaga once. It's been like 6 years. Bear with me. In Xenoblade 1, it's actually a mistranslation, but Colonel Vanguard, he's supposed to be Colonel Vandom. But even so, Van is still present. Xenoblade X, there's Brigadier General Jack Vandom, Captain of the White Whale and leader of Blade. Everybody knows him. Or no, he's not Captain of the White Whale, he was the engineer of the White Whale. I think Nagi was the captain. Whatever. Jack Vandom, he's the Vandom of X. And then in 3, there's Guernica Vandom. This dude, his name isn't even actually Vandom, it's a title. I forget what his actual name is, but it's a really long, I think his last name is Asariel or something like that. But yeah, totally different dudes, no connection, just thought I'd explain that now. So, this mechanic that tutorial was just explained is a little bit different from the other games. In the other games, you can give more, like, minute commands to your party to be like, focus on this and do your own thing. Get in your skill, get out of your skill, and so on. Like, it varies game to game, but there's generally a fair bit of control over what your party is doing, even if you can't choose their specific parts. That is different from Xenoblade 2, where the only party command you have is everyone focus on who you're targeting. And you can't even, like, tell them to stop doing that. They will keep targeting the one dude you told them to target until you target someone else and tell them to do that again. So, like, that's one of the issues I have with Xenoblade 1's combat, or Xenoblade 2's combat. But that's really just a nitpick, because I'm used to other games. Like, even Xenoblade 1, you could tell people to focus, do your own thing, or run the fuck away. So that's still 2 fewer instructions than you can give than the game that preceded it, kind of thing. But, like I said, that's literally just an issue. Most of the time, you don't need to worry about this. You're better off just not getting in fights with multiple opponents you can avoid it.
Yes, I really am the best.
Are you ready for Poppy's full capability?
Rolling smash.
Protocol activated. Thanks for the support. Anyway,
Why not? No effect.
It's got the eggs, so but I think it's pretty good. If you're wondering why I don't always cancel, normally it's because I'm trying to go for the 3 hit. So, like, if an attack bounces like that or gets blocked, I will usually just keep going to try and do the full combo. That was a blade combo. I haven't explained those at all, but that's one of the mechanics. There's a lot of stuff you can do with blade combos, including using them with driver combos to make an even fusion combo. Yes, I know that's confusing if you have played Xenoblade 2, but don't worry about it. But yeah, normally my party for this point in the game is I'll have Ray, their Corbin, or Marshall. So I'll start with a fire, then have me use water, and then finish off with Marshall's ice. But because I don't have her yet, I haven't been able to do that. I'm also not doing like starter stepping and stuff because I don't really see the need to do it a lot of times.
What's the matter? Are you the Aegis, or aren't you?
Huh? Something feels different. This man, he's...
That all you got, mate? Pathetic.
We'll show you. We'll show you what me and Pyra are made of. He dodged.
Of course I did, kid. Any slower, you'd bore me to death.
How about this then?
Rex! Wait! I can't supply power this fast!
Nowhere left to run. Eat this! Huh?
Blade playtime's over. Take this. Ha! If you're a driver, you're a new one for sure. Drivers, see? We borrow our blade's energy, channel it into our weapons, and let rip with an art. But you gotta be careful. There's a limit to it. If you go in all bull-headed like that, kid, even that Aegis of yours is gonna run out of energy before long.
What?
Huh?
The name's Van Dam. I run a little firm out of the nearby village.
Firm?
Come on! I'll treat you to some grub, as thanks for letting me take a whack at the legendary Aegis.
Just then, I realized while we were fighting, I sensed from the very start that he didn't mean us any real harm.
That's a contradictory statement,
strange
Pyra.
old goat.
If you didn't notice it until the very end, how did you tell that from the start he wasn't doing them any harm? But that's not how starts and ends of an instance
Come
work. But whatever. It's probably just a wacky localization thing there. Xenoblade 2, unfortunately, has a rough localization. It's not a bad localization, and in fact, I hesitate to even bring this up because you know how people online get, but it is worth mentioning that, this game's localization was done, in the final months before it was shipped, very last minute. So, there's some weird localization names, like Gramps' theme, or Fonset's village theme is labeled as Gramps' theme because in the game files, the first place it showed up was when you're on Gramps in a debug area for the very, very start of the game, the very first scene of the game. So the localizers were like, okay, this song shows up while you're on Gramps, it's Gramps' theme. Yeah. So... But again, I don't think it's a bad localization. They do change some stuff, like Aegis, that's a localization term, that's not what the term should be in Japanese.
Congratulations!
But you're not really missing a whole lot.
Hell of a
And it's
story.
worth mentioning that every
so
game has some weird localization choices,
but got swallowed up whole instead. You got
Blade
some crazy
is a
luck.
very common example.
what were you doing
Builders
back
of a
then?
Legacy after the
this
destruction of
Titan,
Earth. That's not what that
it ain't too
acronym stands
fussy
for.
about what it eats. I went down
It's
there to see
technically
if anything
beyond
we might
the
need in
Logos
the
Artificial
village washed
Destiny
up.
Emancipator,
But
but that
mostly
sounds
I only
very
found your sorry
Englishy to me,
mushes.
so I understand why they
sorry
changed
about
it.
that.
But it's
Here we are.
technically not the correct localization.
Welcome to Garfont. Ain't much but a toad.
Also,
The village
Garfont
has
this here is
a lot of
sort
children.
of the Colony
Lots of
6
drivers and
of this
blades
game,
here,
in that
too.
it's like
We're
the
in the
hub
business
base that you'll
of
return to
dispatching
a lot.
drivers and blades all across the world. Most of the kids are war orphans. Took them in while on the job.
So you're saying that you take them under your wing?
But just till they're able to make it by themselves.
Some of them might grow up to be drivers, like ourselves. But then others might become tailors.
Doesn't matter what they want to do with their lives. We leave it up to them to decide.
Aye, us justice busters just want to help.
Good eggs, huh?
You said it. I've been called worse. Come on, let's eat. All this egg talk's making me hungry.
Okay. Like in every Xenoblade game, when you see a person with a star next to their name, you should talk to them, because it means their dialogue will be registered for affinity or whatever purpose. In this game, it's development level, but same deal. It really makes you wonder what she has seen if, like, God's sword walking around your camp isn't a big deal. But yeah, for those wondering, the Aegis Sword is literally just Xenoblade 2's Monado. I will not say anything further, because anyone who knows what that means for Xenoblade 1 will know that that's a really big fucking spoiler. So I'm literally just going to leave it at the Aegis is Xenoblade 2's Monado, the same way that Noah's Veiled Sword is the Monado for Xenoblade 3. I'm just not gonna say anything else. Also, this is Corvin's affinity mission right here. I'm skipping through most of the dialogue because I've played this game enough times that I don't really care about the side quest dialogue too much. But the TLDR is that Corvin is a super goody two-shoes, and so a lot of people want him to do shit for them. So he's going... So now for his affinity chart, instead of like a side quest that will have his individual things, in order to unlock the nodes on his side quest, you have to defeat the number of things that those group of people just told you to do. And like, sometimes you are actually going to have to go out of your way to look for some of the enemies, but a lot of them you can just take out as you're exploring. That's also part of why I wasn't reading too much about it. Filling out the affinity chart for all of the blades in this game is a Herculean task, and I do not blame anyone who doesn't want to go out of their way to do it. And I will be the first to admit that I do not do that. I will literally just do what happens naturally unless I specifically need something for, like, a buff or because I'm struggling or to unlock, like, a quest and things like that. For the most part, I just let whatever happens, pretty much. That's how I played the original Xenoblade 1 before we had, like, the quest tracking and all of that, so that kind of just stuck. And this game, as you can tell, doesn't have the quest tracking quite as much. It has the, like, Skyrim compass up at the top there, but if you look at the mini-map, there isn't, like, the follow ball trail that literally leads you to where you need to go. Which, again, is weird, because that's something that was removed from the game immediately preceding it. Like, the follow ball mechanic was introduced in Xenoblade X. Xenoblade 2 came out like 3 years after Xenoblade X and doesn't include the follow ball, so like it's a little bit weird.
Congratulations.
But it's whatever. Like, if Xenoblade 2 ever did get a definitive edition, which I don't think it's going to, but if it ever did on its 10-year anniversary, then stuff like the follow ball and greater party command control, those are the things I would actually want them to add. But most likely what I see happening is them releasing a $20 Switch 2 patch to make it 60 FPS and not laggy, and maybe like fix the memory leak if we even get one of those. Honestly, I think out of all of the Xenoblade games, the most likely to get a Switch 2 patch is going to be Xenoblade X. just because the data miners already found the 60 FPS toggle that just doesn't work with the Switch 1, which admittedly that might just be a leftover dev thing, but I feel like Xenoblade X is the most likely, and the others get progressively less likely the further you go back. Like, I don't think Xenoblade 1 is going to get a Switch 2, but it might, just because Xenoblade 1 has been released on literally every Nintendo console since it released initially. So, like, they might do a Switch 2 version of Xenoblade 1 just to continue that tradition, but I don't really see that happening. Xenoblade 3 might, because it was kind of a big deal when it released and got a fair amount of marketing, so maybe Xenoblade 3 could. But I feel like Xenoblade 2 is the least likely to get any kind of Switch 2 enhancement, even though it's the one that I feel needs it the most. Also, the way the city affinity, the development level works in Xenoblade 2 is different. Instead of doing side quests to raise it, you have to do certain types of side quests called Merc missions. You can also raise it by talking to every NPC that has a star by their name, which is what I was just doing. And also by purchasing things in the stores in order to become owners. But that one takes a long time because most of the store's inventories are actually hidden behind the development level. So, like, for example here, if I just buy one of everything here, I'm not going to be able to buy the deed to become the owner because I'll still need to unlock, like, higher development level. See? So, like, buying everything does increase it, but it's one of the hardest for me to justify actually doing, if that makes sense. This is just a flat upgrade. Block rate for a tank, that's pretty good, but I don't like losing the crit rate. Yep, that's good for me for now. Have anything worth buying? I never used the attachment key, so don't worry about that. Let's continue the story.
I'm going to get some water. Bandam?
Cheers, love. Give me a beer.
Beer? Coming right up.
Beardy.
What's up? The grub don't suit you?
So, do you fight in wars too, Van Damme?
You got a problem with mercenaries?
Are you trying to get us to join up?
Ha! Shrimps like you, we're not that desperate.
Unironically, one of the funniest lines in this entire game.
Good to know.
Rex, You're a salvager, ain't you?
Yeah.
You must have fished out your share of military supplies, right? You fine with that?
Nah, I don't want to get involved with it.
It's all the same. Compasses, valves for ether stoves. Armies need all these things. That bread you're eating, it's made from Ruska flour, supplied by the Ardanian government. This world's full of war. Don't matter if you're a soldier or not. As long as you're alive, you're in the war, some way or another. Don't you think? Life can be cruel. Crueler than you know. That's why I set up this little band, so I could protect the people I care about. Rex, you're the driver of the Aegis. The whole world's gonna try and scalp you. You realize that? How are you gonna live when you've got everyone gunning for you? It'd be easy to run. All you need to do is ditch that girl. Come on! Gotta get ready!
Where are we going?
Just follow me, kid.
Sorry, I'm doing something really quick. Give me half a second. Sorry, I got a text from my bank. I was just making sure everything's fine. It is. We're good. Okay, sorry about that. Well, it's almost like I did that beforehand. Out of curiosity, how many levels can I go up? I'm not actually planning on leveling up. I usually don't unless I need to, but... 20. Yeah, I can go to 23 for Rex, 23 for Tora, and 24 for Nia. That should give me a fair amount of wiggle room for the fight that's coming up here shortly.
Did you have a restful sleep?
Nice cat nap.
Up! Come out, come out! Up! Up! Up!
I don't believe I can use this yet.
I call on the power of water.
I don't even think I have Fortitude level 2 yet.
And arrived.
Those field skills are another thing a lot of people don't like about Xenoblade 2. And really the only reason I haven't mentioned them is because I don't think they're really that big of a deal. There is a couple of story block ones, but like, as long as you have like any common blades in your party, there's a good chance you'll have gathered the things necessary to clear those checks. They're not hard ones at all. And even then, there's only like 2 that I can immediately think of. Or not, I think there's 3.
We just got a job to go check out some kind of crazy energy effect. Somewhere up around the blowhole. What do you say?
Blowhole.
Fancy being a mercenary for a day?
Okay. But, I mean, we don't work for free.
Hey, are you gonna turn us into mercenaries?
worry,
Nah,
kid.
kid, don't worry about it.
You'll get paid.
Literally 2 minutes later, hey kid, wanna be a mercenary? That's why I said that's unironically one of the funniest lines of dialogue to me. So, now we have access to Vandam. He is a temporary party member. He leaves at the end of this chapter. So it's not too big of a deal if you use him or not. He can only use rock as a blade, but he does have unique arts and stuff. The problem is that he's an attacker, and the way your starting party works out is Rex is the attacker, Tora is your only tank, and Nia is your only healer. Now, you can technically customize Rex and Nia to an extent. They each have the 1 additional blade slot, so you could give Rex a healing blade, you could give Nia a tank blade. They're not really built for that, and I wouldn't recommend you do that, but you could do that. The problem is, though, you're still at a strict disadvantage if you want to use Vandam during this. Because the only other party member who gets 1 blade is Tora, but Tora is a tank, while Vandam is an attacker. So you would be left with no tank in a game that you really want to have a tank for. Again, you could customize that by making either Rex or Nia have a secondary tank blade, but it's still not as good as just having a strict tank, you know? So unfortunately, I'm not going to be using Vandam a whole lot here. I apologize about that, he's cool to use, but like, it's literally just not worth using him. Oh, Mike showed up. Hello, I'm glad you could join again. You missed me going on a spiel explaining why I'm not using Vandam. I don't remember how far you said you made it in Xenoblade 2, but this is still like the beginning of Chapter 3, pretty much. I just left Gorma.
No, you fight Poppy. Our legends are too, Rex.
Use of it now.
My thoughts exactly. Ha!
Please leave it to Dora.
Corbin!
Let me out. Defense protocol activated. Thanks for steady.
So I haven't really been using Tora a whole lot, and the main reason for that is it's kind of hard to change his light with other items, right? Because the easiest one is light, and fire. That's the easiest change I have to do with him. But it still requires me to fully charge up Pyra into level 3.
No, I'm fired.
Oh, you heard? I believe it is the end of this chapter. Okay. I'm probably not going to make it to the end of this chapter in this stream. This is a kind of long chapter because your eye is huge, and I was already kind of thinking of ending it in the next hour. But I'll play for a little bit.
Okay. All right already.
Can I even find this level 22 of 19? Right?
Come out, come out.
I'll find out. I know this dude is always like, every time I try to use Vandam and fight this thing, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna switch back to my regular party member. It's way too hard to fight this thing without a tank.
Please leave it to Tora!
The game is drowning your voice out nearly completely. Okay, thank you for the tip. I will adjust. Okay, I turned down the game a bit. Is that better? It's kind of hard for me to judge with games because, like, the video capture device, I have to account for both gameplay and, like, quiet moments. And when I'm looking over OBS, like, the thing wasn't even reaching the yellow yet, whereas my voice was, so I think it was fine, but I'm still in the process of, like, learning audio mixing and all that. Also, I'm already still noticing the slowdown in Xenoblade 2 during this fight. And, like, I don't like to call it out, but it is noticeable for Xenoblade 2. Because the way the lag works in this game, like, everything slows down. So, like, you feel the difference in, like, your character's attack speed. Yes, much better? Okay, I'm glad.
Why not? Nia always looks so happy riding on Dromark's back.
You think? His fur can be a bit bristly sometimes.
Apparently the Switch 2 version of this, like in handheld, looks noticeably worse, which is unfortunate, but makes sense. It's 480p in handheld mode, with like dynamic resolution scaling, where 480p is the high end. So like, I get it, but I was hoping that this game would look better on Switch 2. I hope it at least runs better. I would like to think it does run better, because, like, the issue with this game is that it has a memory, and the Switch 2 has, like, 8 times the memory, or something stupid like that. So, like, you would assume that it's not as bad, but I've also heard a lot of bad things about how this game runs on Switch 2 in, like, the Xenoblade Reddit group and stuff, so I have no idea. You haven't tested Xenoblade 2 yet? Fair enough.
What have we here?
Like, from what I've seen online, again, I don't have a Switch 2, I can't afford one. I want one, I can't afford one, not really much I can do about that, but from what I've heard online and seen, it seems like Xenoblade X runs the best on Switch 2, which makes sense. It's the most recent one. It was almost assuredly developed with being able to run on the Switch 2 in mind. And, like, there was the data mined 60 FPS toggle that almost confirms it's going to get a Switch 2 patch. But from what I understand, Xenoblade 2 and 3 don't look very good on the Switch 2. Xenoblade 3 apparently works, or looks the worst, because its dynamic scaling is set to, like, individual locale instead of, like, the system. So, like, 540p is still the highest the resolution goes for Xenoblade 3, just full stop. And, like, certain areas like Erythia will still look as bad as they looked on the Switch 1 on the Switch 2, which kind of sucks, but apparently the frame rate on Xenoblade 3 is a lot better, and it actually is, like, 30 the entire game, more or less, even in areas like Erythia Sea.
My asthma's died down.
And then Xenoblade 1, I've heard, is basically just the exact same experience as on Switch 1, which, again, makes sense.
Let's roll.
But basically everyone I've read talk about it says that Xenoblade 2 looks actively worse on Switch 2. So this is the part of that I was talking about where it is sort of like Tephra Cave and Satoral Marsh combined. The Satoral Marshy area is out there. It's not quite the same. The trees don't, like, glow the same way they do. They're Sophronia trees. They, like... I mean, they do still glow, but it's not the blue ether lights. It's, like, a pinky fantasy cherry blossom kind of light. You'll see what I mean.
And arrived.
All in one piece.
Come out, come out.
Flora heals an aching soul.
Ah, yes, the most iconic line of dialogue in this entire game. Flora heals an aching soul. Like, anyone who plays Xenoblade 2 will have that phrase, like, haunt their nightmares. You hear it so often in this game. It is, like, the most common gathering voice line.
Come out, come out.
So I'm worried that if I attack this, it'll also immediately aggro that, because that's usually how Ardens and Armus work when they're close together. One-on-one, a level 21 wouldn't be a huge deal. I'm not sure if I'll be able to handle 2, but we'll give it a shot.
Just watch this, quietly.
Xenoblade 2 works, or I shouldn't say worse, because it's a problem, but Xenoblade 2 is a lot harsher than 1X or 3 when it comes to fighting enemies outside of your level, in the sense that it's harder to run away from this game. Like, it's especially noticeable if you're fighting Territorial Rotbart and, like, big enemies. It was, like, a legit meme when the game came out of, like, people trying to run away and then getting quote-unquote sniped from halfway across Gormott. That's not really an exaggeration, that's more or less what actually can happen. And that's because enemies in Xenoblade 2 don't have a range the same way that they do in 1X and 3. As soon as an enemy starts casting an art, or is set to cast an art, I should say, that art is going to be cast regardless of the fact, and the game, like, predetermines whether or not that art is going to hit you if you're not doing something to specifically avoid it. So, like, if you have an art that says evade attack during the duration of the art, then that will override the game saying that the enemy's art will hit you. But if something like that isn't happening, and Territorial Rotbart does his attack from, like, 4 miles away, the game has already decided that that attack is going to kill you by the time he starts casting it. So, like, no matter how far away you try and run from him, that art is still going to hit you. Whereas in Xenoblade 1, X, and 3, that is still the case, except that enemy arts have a range. So if you manage to run away from them, the enemy AI will change their targeting priority to be one of your teammates instead, allowing you to get away from them. That kind of thing happens a lot less frequently in Xenoblade 2. So if you're severely outmatched by an enemy in Xenoblade 2, you're more likely to die because of it than you are in the other games. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because all of the Xenoblade games, there isn't really a punishment for dying. Like, the worst that happens is you're sent back to the nearest landmark, and sometimes you have to, like, backtrack for 2 or 3 minutes. It's usually not a big deal. But I'm just mentioning it because some people don't have it yet. You've got the online expansion, so you've been playing Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube. I really want to play Soul Calibur 2 again. I've never played the GameCube version of Soul Calibur 2, I only played the PS2 version. So I've never played as Link, but Soul Calibur 2 is a great game. Soul Calibur 3 is my favorite, I would say, but 2 is amazing. Probably the biggest selling point for me for the GameCube, though, is playing Pokemon XD again. Like, I love Pokemon XD. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and it just does not emulate at all. Like, I mean, you can play it, but it looks terrible, and the shadows are broken constantly, and the sound effects always get desynced, and the models don't always work right, and so on and so forth. So, like, unironically, being able to play Pokemon XD again is, like, probably the biggest single selling point for the Switch 2 for me. I wish it was an actual port and not, like... Okay, I wish it was an actual remaster that added in the Pokemon that had been released since then. I know it was never going to be that, but, like, a girl can dream. But I will take being able to just play it at all, kind of thing. a proper, like, remaster or something that I don't have to worry about, like, getting taken off the live service would have been nice. But I don't think Nintendo actually has removed any games from the live service since they've introduced it. I'm sure it'll happen eventually, but I don't think they've done it yet. And I mean, even then, apparently, the whole, like, physical preservation thing doesn't matter for Switch 2 anyways. It's like every game is the digital cart key thing now. Oh, are they not on it already? I thought they were included on launch. That's kind of unfortunate. What games are included on launch? I genuinely haven't been following. I know Mario Kart World. Oh, yeah, I'm fucked. Yep, there was nothing I could do about that. Like I said, in this game you can very, very quickly get overwhelmed by multiple enemies attacking you all at once. But yeah, I know Mario Kart World is like the big single launch title that everyone's talking about, but I genuinely don't remember what the other ones are. I think Wind Waker was one of them, right? Not the Wii U remaster, because they're lame. They're doing, like, the GameCube version, if I remember correctly. Wolves in this game could be super annoying to fight, because they have a roar ability that if you don't kill them before they finish casting it, they'll summon allies, and those allies can use it, and it's sort of like I was talking about earlier, that one boss fight that will literally never end if you don't do the gimmick to win it. Wolves are sort of like a pocket version of that. There is technically a way to stop that from happening. If you look in the top right corner, you'll see the, like, overdrive, quote-unquote, map that Xenoblade XDE had, except for the blade combos. Each individual chain of those has a unique effect, and one of them is seal reinforcements, and if you do that, then until you destroy the orb in a chain attack, which is a mechanic I haven't even unlocked yet, that enemy will be unable to do that mechanic. But for a lot of enemies like this, non-boss enemies, you are extremely unlikely to actually get to the point where that matters. So, like, I could go through the effort of trying to do that whole thing for a wolf, but more likely it will cast the art and then die before I get to the point you can do a level 3 blade combo and seal that mechanic. So, like, it's really just a DPS check of how quickly can you kill these things before they start spawning reinforcements. There are some things you can do, like what I'm doing right now, the level 4 specials. Those actually override enemy art casting. So if your enemy is doing an art or whatever and you do that, it will fully interrupt what they're doing and stop it from registering. So you can also do that to stop it as well. Soul Calibur 2, Wind Waker, and F-Zero GX. F-Zero, that was the one I couldn't remember. I'm sure the fact I said that is a joke in and of itself, considering Nintendo doesn't remember about F-Zero. I mean, at least they made F-Zero 99. I know that's not really a new F-Zero game, but it kind of was. It was like an F-Zero NES ROM hack that they turned into a Battle Royale game, but it was kind of fun. What other launch games are there on the Switch 2 right now? Like, actual Switch 2 games? Is it just Mario Kart World and Cyberpunk? I know Breath of the Wild, Pokemon, and Tears of the Kingdom and all that, but I mean like actual proper Switch 2 games, not like Switch 2 upgrades. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, water, water, dark is the combo to seal reinforcements. But I did water, earth, and now I'm locked because I don't have a wind blade, so now I'm just going to have to kill this thing or wait until it... Yeah, I'm screwed. He's gonna die. If your tank goes down and, like, things look like that, you have, like, 4 enemies attacking you, it's not even worth trying to fight, just GTFO. Oh, that he's summoning more. That's fine. Is it just Mario Kart World? Wow. Oh, and that weird tech demo game? Right, I forgot about that. I don't even remember what it's called. I think it's Welcome to Nintendo Switch 2 Tour, or some weird name like that. That game baffles me, because, like, the PS5 has a similar game with the, Astrobot game. Not the new one that everyone loved, the one that came with every Switch, or not Switch, every PS5. And, like, that one was cool. Like, you could feel the controller vibrating as you jumped around and stuff, but I only played it for, like, 5 minutes, and I genuinely don't see how Nintendo expects charging $70 for their version of that game is going to sell, like, at all. But I guess they did the same thing with 1-2 Switch, didn't they? And I don't think hardly anybody bought that game either.
Awesome. I never thought of using it that way.
And now, finally, Rex also can topple.
Just the right moment. Now you try.
Wasn't that free, though? Which one? The PS5 one? Yeah, the PS5 one is free, which is, like, the best thing about it. It comes packaged in free with literally every person who buys a PS5. Literally everyone will get that Astrobot game for free. It's not the Game of the Year big one that everyone cares about. It's like a prequel to that or something. I don't really understand it, to be fair. But, like, the best part about that is everyone gets it for free, and it shows you the gimmicks of the PS5 controller. Like, you play it for 5 minutes, you understand what the haptics are about, and that's it, you're good to go. The problem with the Switch 2 version of that game is that they're charging money for it. Like, if it came free included on every Switch 2, and it was just okay, this is all the new features, quick little mini-game play around, like Nintendo World on the Wii U was, then I feel like it would be totally fine. But I think the fact they're charging the same amount that they are for a full, proper Switch 2 game means that it's not going to sell, like, at all. I genuinely can't think of anyone who would be in the market for that. Because, like, parents aren't going to want to buy that for their kids to be like, hey, you can play this cool game with your siblings, because it's just a tech demo. Maybe tech enthusiasts, just to, like, see what it's about, but even then, like, why would you spend $70 to $80 to get the tech demo that's probably only like 5 hours long, when you could just watch a 15-minute Digital Foundry video and get the same degree of information in, like, 3/4 the time? Have I ever used the haptic feedback triggers on the PS5 controller? Yes, actually. I use them all the time. I don't use them for every game, though. There are some games where I just can't stand them. Notably, Monster Hunter. The bow uses them in Monster Hunter, and it drives me insane. Because, like, you'll go to, like, pull the thing to charge up your arrow, and then you have to, like 3 times in order to get the full, like, charge input, and it drives me nuts. But there are some games that I really like them in. Final Fantasy 16, using it to, like, open the doors and stuff, I thought that was kind of a neat use of it.
There are all sorts.
I also like it for, like, FPS, like, proper shooters and stuff like that. They're kind of good. I think it was Returnal the, like,
It's a two-way thing.
PlayStation first-party
You've gotta be aware
roguelike
of
shooter
the
game.
power coming out.
That one had pretty good use of it.
Don't waste it. Channel it through your arts and protect her. If you can do that, then you're a true driver, kid.
A true driver? I don't know. Am I ready?
Course you are. That thing from before took me 5 years to learn that.
5 years?
Yeah, but you saw it once, and then you aced it like it was nothing. And you got near and tore it.
You never
in
used
tow.
them before your friend
Those
suggested
guys
to
are
turn it
pretty
off. That's
handy.
fair. Most
Kid,
people
you
do.
got a bright future.
The way I see it is, if
think I'm
I'm
gonna
buying
scream.
a console and the console
want
has
a
a gimmick,
scary
I want
face,
to at
but
least
very
try
nice.
out the gimmick if I don't have to spend additional money for it. So, like, hypothetically, if a Switch 2 spawned on my desk in 2 minutes, then I would check out, like, the mouse controls. I would check out the new motion controls and all that. What I wouldn't check out is the camera and, like, the chat feature, because I wouldn't want to spend the, like, $40 to buy a webcam, a shitty, like, 240p webcam, to have, like, a 15 FPS crusty image of myself dancing in the bottom corner of my friend's screen. Like, I'm good on that, bro. But if it is something that, like, can be integrated into a game in a cool way that I don't have to spend money for, I'm usually at least willing to try it out and then see if I like it on a game-to-game basis. So, like, for the Switch 1, the Skyward Sword port, I actually did play that with the motion controls for the majority of my playthrough. Not the entire thing, I did also use the button controls, but for the most part, I used the actual motion controls for that. But in the same console, I despised using those same motion controls for Skyrim on Switch. I just didn't get the same, like, enjoyment out of it. Things didn't feel like they worked correctly. The most I used was, like, the motion control bow aiming. And even that, I felt, didn't actually properly register what I wanted it to do most of the time. So, like, it's a very case-by-case basis for me, and it's the same deal with the PS5 haptics. Sometimes they're cool, most of the time it's just a gimmick and it's whatever. Sometimes it's actively infuriating and messing with my gameplay, so I turn them off. It kind of just varies. On your 3DS, you use the 3D feature for one of which. Yeah, that's entirely fair. Again, great example of the 3DS. Some games, the 3D I really liked and used all the time. Others, it actively gave me a migraine and made me feel like I was going to throw up if I turned it on. Like, Fire Emblem Fates, I used the 3D on a lot and I actually really liked it, but Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate on the 3DS, if I turned the 3D on, the text was so low resolution that reading it made me feel nauseous with the 3D on. It gave me a migraine without the 3D turned on and made me feel sick with it. It was not great on the 3DS. And that's actually the reason why Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate is the game that I've played the least of in the entire franchise, because I've never played the Wii U or the Wii version, I've only played the 3DS, and the 3DS version is not a good version of that game. I believe Metal Gear Solid 3, I think that was the one on 3DS, also just didn't have good use of the 3D feature. Because, like, half the time if you turned it on, the game's frame rates would just go to shit, and it would just make you feel even more, like, sick to your stomach. It was a cool gimmick, but yeah, I understand why people didn't use the 3D feature very often. When I eventually got a new 3DS, I actually got the new 2DS, the one that has the clamshell but still can play the 3DS games. I actually specifically got that one for Xenoblade 3D, which is actually the game I spent most of the time playing it on. But I never felt like I was missing out on not having the 3D, if that makes sense. Did I like For You on 3DS? Yeah, I loved For You. For You was actually my first Monster Hunter game. That's one of my favorite games ever made, if I'm being completely honest. It's not very new player friendly, but you could say that about every Monster Hunter game, really. Oh, my Pyro controller is dying. Also, yes, I'm using the Xenoblade 3 Pro controller.
Taste the pain. Eagle Eye. Why not? Sure. Rolling smash. Hold up. I'll tell you why I'm the star player. Muscle slap. Anchor shot. Go for it.
Oh shit. That was me. I'm not paying attention, rather. I thought I was at a stage 2. I was not. Even if I was at a stage 2, I still shouldn't have done that. That was just me being stupid.
What would you have me do? Okay,
It's whatever. This is not a difficult fight. The only annoying part about the Rhinon monsters is they have a tail smack attack that will send you flying when they use it, and that's kind of annoying, but... The thing that I don't understand is why is it only fucking targeting me instead of fighting Tora? Oh, it's because I don't have Tora. When the fuck did Vandom join my party? When did that happen? I was like, wait, why isn't my tank taking aggro? You know what I was talking about earlier? How I said it wasn't worth using Vandom because it makes the game harder during this segment? This is literally what I was talking about.
We can do this all day.
I'd have had a word if you'd messed that up.
Vandom, when the fuck did... Was it during that last boss? Did I just not notice that? Tora, get the fuck back in my party. Although, actually, I think I'm gonna switch to playing as Nia for a while. I like playing as Nia. Her fist moveset is really fun. I wish there was the Xenoblade 3 quick swap, but unfortunately that button just swaps your equipped blade in this one.
Quick! Will we have the advantage?
Not everyone has your energy, my lady.
Go ahead and add the party quick swap request to my list of things that if Xenoblade 2 gets a definitive edition, I hope they add. Xenoblade XDE didn't, so like I don't expect them to, but it'd be nice if that just became a standard feature. Oh, I didn't topple him, damn it. That would have been really fucking cool if he actually did the thing he was supposed to do there.
Good on you.
Rex, I really needed you to not switch off of Corvin, or Pyro there into Corvin. Because the whole, I need a fire art, bro. Did you forget that? Oh, whatever, the thing's dead anyway, but like, that's kind of the annoying part about not having fuller control over your party members in Xenoblade 2 specifically, the reduced tactics menu. Stuff like that is a little annoying, where like, you obviously try to set something up and then your party members just don't play into it at all. That's definitely an aspect that they improved on in other games, but it's also kind of just a Xenoblade 1 issue, because like, in Xenoblade 2, if you break an enemy, the AI is programmed to automatically focus on toppling that enemy. And then they will also prioritize dazing that enemy, unless that enemy has a daze effect, or not a daze effect, a spike effect when they're toppled, then the AI is smart enough to know not to do that. So, like, the AI in Xenoblade 1 is actually very sophisticated for all the shit people give it. And same with Xenoblade X, but then you get to Xenoblade 2, and it's like a weird step backward. Again, it's just it's one of those quirks where, like, you can really tell where Xenoblade 2 was rushed, and, like, the impact that losing 80% of its team to Breath of the Wild had on the game. It's still a great game. It's still a load of fun. I still love playing it. It's still one of my favorite games of all time. But, like, It's got its quirks. I like to compare it to Dragon's Dogma 2 a lot, because they're in the same kind of category for me, where they're both great, phenomenal games, but they're not perfect games.
Like I thought.
Titan? So that weird power effect they clocked. Maybe this is the cause.
Yeah, sure looks like it.
I'll hazard it wasn't death by old age, either. Might have been an accident. On the other hand, it might have been attacked.
Here's another Xenoblade 1 parallel. Like I said, this area is sort of the Tephra Cave. This is literally the equivalent of the Arachno Queen fight. On, like, a couple of different levels.
Quick! While we have the advantage! Tora and Poppy are unbeatable team! Ha! Yeah!
Rush down!
Yeah!
I missed. Thanks.
Rush down!
So, what's happening there, the repeated bouncing, whenever an enemy driver, and this spider counts as a driver for this fight, because it has a blade, that's the whole thing that's going on here. When the blade is using an art, your character or your enemy will automatically block attacks that land on them for the duration of the art. And it doesn't matter if you use an art, a special, an auto attack, it doesn't matter, they will always bounce off. It's annoying, it's extremely annoying, but it's just a thing. As I've said like 7 times throughout this stream already, it's just one of those quirks of Xenoblade 2. You get used to it.
Let me do it. Yeah! Decisive blow!
I do actually really like playing as healers in Xenoblade 2, though. I think they're the best in this game. Or, maybe not the best, but the most fun to play, I should say. Because, like, Xenoblade 1 healers, your options are Shulk, Sharla, or Ricky. And Shulk and Ricky are really fun to play, but they're not fun to play because they're healers. And Sharla is notoriously not fun to play, which is really unfortunate. I wish she was fun to play, but like, the way Xenoblade 1 is structured most of the game, if you need healing, you're playing very passively. And when you play as Sharla, if you want to have any gameplay at all that isn't literally just standing there, you have to like intentionally nerf your party to the point where healing is necessary in the first place. So like, unfortunately Sharla does kind of get the short end of the stick in the Xenoblade 1 party. And then Xenoblade 3, you get really fun healers, but you get a really bad first impression because, like, Uni, gameplay-wise, is Sharla again, except with a smaller art palette, and Taion isn't even really a healer, he's more of, like, a debuff-type support character. So, like, you don't really get a proper decent healer until Valdi. And even then, Valdi isn't... his class isn't fun to use, he's just good at healing. So, like, the first fun healer you get is probably, like, Ezard. So, like, it takes a while before Xenoblade 3's healers get kind of fun. Whereas, like, Nia, you can do a lot of really fun stuff with Nia early on. And, like, Nia's crit heal build is, like, so infamous that they, like, referenced it in Xenoblade 3. To be fair, they also referenced Rex's crit heal build with Mithra in Xenoblade 3's Future Redeemed, which I think is hilarious. I still maintain that Dunban Shulk is not a bad character or party member in Future Redeemed. It's literally just Shulk's, or not, Shulk. It's literally just that Rex's aggro with the crit recharge build that he gets built into Double Spinning Edge just outpaces everybody, because, like, even Nickel can't really fucking get enough aggro to really keep the heat off of Rex. Like, once Rex, especially if you're playing as him, once he gets to a certain point in the fight, he's just going to be aggroed until whatever you're fighting kills him. That's just how it is.
The blade returned to its core.
So that monster was in resonance with the blade.
Tora cannot resonate. Stinky monster can resonate. Not fair.
But
That's okay, you'll build Origin Tor. I think that's more impressive.
If a blade loses its driver, it winds up like this.
So, is it, like, dead?
I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna go refill my water.
The crystal will start glowing again after a bit of time. Then a new driver can resonate with it. But
There's a but?
its memory will be totally zapped. It'll be reborn as a new blade. Won't remember a thing.
Yeah? That's pretty rough. To have all your past wiped out like that.
But memories can be painful as well.
Oh hey, I got back just in time for my favorite line of foreshadowing in this entire game. People who have played Torna before playing Xenoblade 2, that line, A+.
It's just as well. Eternity is a long time to collect bad memories.
Honestly, that line of dialogue too could easily be attributed to foreshadowing Xenoblade 3. One of my favorite talking points about this franchise is Xenoblade 3 was in the plans before or during the development of Xenoblade X. So literally all of Xenoblade 2 exists with the general framework of 3 in mind. So there's a lot of stuff like blades forgetting their memories when they're reborn, eternity being a long time to collect bad memories, wanting to exist in a single moment forever because your loved one died. Like, there's a lot of that. Hell, like, Malos directly calls out the divine spark of life in that exact phrasing.
Like a big steak, right before you take that first bite.
Which, really, that kind of thing is what I want to talk about when I stream these games, because clearly I'm not doing these as, like, a first-time blind player. I've played these games hundreds of times. I'm in love with the lore and world building, and a lot of people, when they play these games, they'll play them one after the other, or take big breaks between them, and then never revisit them, and so they miss out on a lot of the really cool foreshadowing and, like, ways that Takahashi has linked the games together in retrospect.
It's incredible.
Like the fact that Shulk literally does a core crystal awakening in Xenoblade 1, which came out like 6 years before Xenoblade 2 came out. But you wouldn't necessarily recognize that if you didn't play Xenoblade 2, see the pose and animation, then go see that moment in Xenoblade 1 and be like, holy shit, they're doing the exact same thing.
Pyra already had a body when we found her.
And I'm not going to elaborate it on at all because it literally just came out in massive spoilers. But that statement is just as true for Xenoblade X's Chapter 13. Like, even just in this cutscene, in the time I've sat down, I've noticed 3 things that have been given completely new context from Xenoblade XDE, and you bet your ass I'm excited about that.
Leave it to me.
If you know, you know, but that's all I'm going to say about that. Also, I love Nia's riding animation on Dromark. I think it's adorable. She unfortunately only does it with Dromark. If you switch her blade, she just runs like normal. But it does mean she technically gets 2 running animations, which I think only she has in this game. I don't remember if Tora rides Poppy Buster. I don't think he does. But he might get a second running animation with Poppy Buster. But if he doesn't, then I'm pretty sure it's just Nia and Dromark. Also, chorus, go Nia, go Nia. I love that. That has been a vocal stim for me literally since Xenoblade 2 came out. Korra is unironically one of my favorite blades in this game. She's not my favorite, like my number one favorite. My number one favorite is Peru. But Korra is super underrated. Alright, my controller's dying. Forgot about that. Spinning Kata is also one of those, like, fun vocal stims for me. Honestly, Xenoblade 2, in general, Think You Can Take Me, Don't Forget Me, Burning Sore, Spinning Kata, Go Nia, Go Nia. Like, all of those have all been vocal stims for me at different points. I could have switched to Dromark for that, for the blade combo, but it was literally just an Upa. That's not really necessary. Although, I do think it's funny that in this game they're just called lizards instead of Upas, but they're the exact same enemies and, like, models. They just are properly called lizards in this one. And then in Xenoblade 3 they go right back to calling them Upas again. You played Xenoblade 2 about 2 or 3 times, and I would love to play these games multiple times, but unfortunately I haven't even beaten most of them. That's fair. Like, I don't expect people to be as obsessed about these games as I am. Like, this is a lifelong hyperfixation for me. For the entire Xeno series, like, I've read the developer interviews, I've read the art books, I own a couple of the art books, not all of them, I really wish I owned all of them, but, like, I am obsessed with this, and a big part of that is because I just adore Takahashi's writing style, and, like, again, his use of retconnings, I think, is probably the best example I can immediately think of in any type of media or fiction. Like, again, not all of them are perfect, but overwhelmingly, the kind of retcons that Takahashi does are positive and give more depth and appreciation to the media than others of their type. Like, the term retcon has a very negative connotation because most people think of, oh, well, you're changing something that I loved for the worse. And, like, that mindset is present in Xenoblade's fandom. Like, obviously everybody gave shit for Xenoblade DE getting rid of the old art style, but, like, they got rid of that art style to make it more consistent with the timeline where the two worlds literally smack together and become one for a game. Like, it makes sense that if that is the goal for Xenoblade 3, to retroactively make Xenoblade 1 closer to 2. Like, roly-poly, keep on rolling. Yeah, that's a good one. Honestly, all of Ricky's dialogue is fantastic. Like, really all of the Xenoblade games, I have at least one vocal stim for. Like, for Xenoblade X, my favorite is, probably Celica, when she's like, what does this button do? When she does a skill art, and it's like, oh honey, you're just pressing shit at random at the giant super robot, aren't you? Who gave you a license to drive this? For Xenoblade 3, there's obviously the, you guys got any babies? That one's a good line. I really love all of Uni's various Melia comments, like Queen's Snow White Wings, that one's a good one. Obviously, Lands wants something meatier, that one's iconic for a lot of people. God damn it, I did it again. I did the fucking fire, and I don't have a wing blade. It's like the third time this stream I've done that on autopilot. You can tell I've played this game a lot, because I'm not really paying attention. Like, Xenoblade for me is very muscle memory. Like I said, it's a comfort game for me. I don't have to pay a lot of attention to it. That also means I'm not making, like, optimal plays, but for me there's a point when a game becomes a video game that you stop caring about making optimal plays and are just playing it because you love it. And that's kind of where Xenoblade is for me. I like that stink is a gameplay mechanic in this. Like, oh, the monster farted on you, so now your blade doesn't want to be close to you. So now your affinity sucks. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Imagine if you were fighting with a giant skunk and the skunk sprayed you, and then your best friend who was also passing you the bullets to shoot it with was like, dude, you stink, get the fuck away from me. Like, gimme. Have I collected any more blades? I don't think I have. No, I have, actually. Okay, so this beastly core crystal, I'm not going to be able to use this one for a while. I think it's like halfway through chapter 4 that this one reactivates. But it just gives you the blade for that boss we just fought. His name's Wolfric, he's an attacker spear blade, he's kind of cool, but nothing to write home about. I'm really hoping this rare blade gives me fucking Perun. I'm not too concerned about awakening a bunch of blades on just Rex and Nia, because you don't get Morag for a while, and I have enough overdrive protocols from the DLC packs that I can just pass anyone over. Okay, well, this isn't Perun, but she is actually one of my favorite blades. Fun fact, she was the second rare blade that I ever got. My first was Perun, she is my second. On my very first run back in launch year. So I do actually like her. I use her a lot. And she is actually a wind blade. The problem is that I would have to replace Corvin. I'm not sure if I want to do that. It would make Rex a healer attacker and opposed to an attacker tank. Increasing accuracy is nice. You know what? Yeah, we'll do this for a little bit. Or wait, no, because she's on Rex. Or she's not on Rex, she's on Nia. Unfortunately, I can't swap out Drummark because this isn't a New Game Plus run, this is a fresh run. Do I want to get rid of Korra for her, though? No. But mostly because I'm planning on using an overdrive protocol. Or should I use an overdrive? I'll decide later. Because ultimately I have to save the overdrive protocols for any blades that I want to throw onto Morag and on Zeke. Zeke, I am not concerned about. I admittedly don't use Zeke very often. Nothing against Zeke, I love him as a character. I just don't use him very often. My ideal team is usually Rex, then Morag, and then usually Korra. But if I need to, I will put Nia instead of Korra. But more often than not, Morag is the character I'm actively controlling, and then Rex is my all-around do-everything, and then people who know how busted Tora can get late game will understand why I have Tora in the party. So, like, it's not even a thing of me disliking Zeke. I actually think he's one of my favorite characters in the franchise. And I love Pandoria. I just don't usually have the party space to play as Zeke. But, again, I usually try to make a point to swap out who I'm using periodically. That's why I'm actually playing as Nia right now. Last night, I was playing mostly as Tora, so, like, I like to keep a rotation. Really, the only character that I don't like to play as across the entire series. In Xenoblade 1, I just don't like playing as Charlotte. Again, I've explained why. It's nothing against her as a character. She's just not fun to play as. It's just a fact. Like, I don't think you'll find anybody who plays Xenoblade looks at Charlotte's playset and is like, yes, she is the best character to play as in this entire franchise. I would pay money to see someone, like, legitimately give me a reason why they find Charlotte fun to play as. My phone's going up. What's that about? Oh, severe thunderstorm warning. Great. Cool. Yeah, and my phone's dying, so my phone. It's honestly, it's those fucking Oopas that are actually the problem here.
Okay, watch this.
Also, if I actually, like, pay attention to what I'm doing and pay attention to the blade combos, I literally walk into that.
I apologize.
Come on, Rex, pick me up. Thank you.
Tasteful situation.
No, thank God.
Let us make use of see you on the other side.
You know, there's a couple of
Guess I really am the best. For sure. Let me do it. I'm waiting for this all day. Why not? Now it gets interesting. For sure. Double singing edge. Nicely done.
Oh, did it not? It said topple, but why didn't it let me launch? What the fuck? I'm so confused. No.
I've waited for this all day.
Like I said, this game isn't terribly difficult. Like, it can be, but for the most part, you can get through a lot of encounters just by walking in. Sometimes, like, if you're outnumbered, you're just gonna die, but sometimes. Jackal Claw, specifically, is probably my favorite animation with Nia in this entire game. I love the, like, backflip she does.
Hey, we got through it in one piece, didn't we? Besides, you're so small. The
Oh, you're gonna head out? Alright, no worries. Thank you for joining. I hope you had fun.
Oh, you're one to talk.
I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be streaming, to be completely honest. I have been streaming for 2 hours and 17 minutes. There is a boss fight when you get back to Garfont, and I'm thinking that's probably where I'm gonna call it. So if I can get Tora to do another Earth, then I can combo with the Thunder. Or I could do Volcano. Well, I'm at level 3, so I think I'll just complete. I'll see. Okay, yeah. That's fine. I was gonna say I'll wait to see whichever one shows up, but it ended up being. I just fucked up by swapping over to Tora on autopilot. Like I said, I'm not really paying too much attention. I was still a stupid mistake, but it's fine. So I just do this. We're good. That's certainly a camera angle. Watch that be the fucking thumbnail.
Nicely done. Sure can do it. Okay, watch this. Not to boast, but that was spectacular. Right, Gramps?
Remember, Rex, pride comes before a fall.
Gimme, gimme. Let me see.
Flora heals an aching soul.
believe there's a field skill over here. Also, yes, Nia does in fact do a kitty paddle, and it's adorable. I think there's a field skill check over here somewhere, if I remember correctly. I don't know if I have access to it yet, though. Yes, there is over here. I probably don't, but I still like to check.
I call on the power of water.
Nope. So, eventually you'll be able to sort of brute force those field skills, because eventually you will have 3 party members who can equip 3 different blades, and you'll have enough commons that, like, for the most part, you'll probably be fine, unless you need, like, a really high level in something. Or you need a specific rare blade skill, but for the most part, you can brute force a lot of them. The problem is, I'm still so early in the game that I don't even have 3 party members who can equip multiple blades. The only 2 who can equip multiple blades are Rex and Nia, who can both only equip 1. So it's a bit harder for me to brute force them this early. Why was this chest already open? What the fuck? Okay, weird. I literally came to Uriah on stream for the first time, so, like, I didn't open this. I don't know why that's already opened, but okay. Okay, is everyone else good? Yep. So for this boss fight, I am going to switch back to Rex, though, just so I can control the flow of the specials a little bit better. I don't think I need to level up too terribly much. Because, yeah, I'm level 17, or no, I'm level 20. Should be fine. If I have to level up, we'll just spend the money to stay at the end, but I think we'll be fine.
Hey, hold still. I thought you were a tough salvager, Rex.
Give me a break. Pain is pain, isn't it? How about you? Are you hurt?
Don't worry. It's just a scratch. That was on purpose. You were hurting me on purpose, weren't you? Well,
I wasn't, honest. I was just rubbing the lotion in.
Rex, you rubbed it too hard. It hurts.
Hey,
See?
you two, give me a look at that. What is this? Haven't seen this before. Don't know why a blade would be stuck with a bunch of wounds. And they're exactly the same as Rex's. Incredible. Never heard of such a thing.
It's all true.
I just thought it was an accessory.
Van Damme, that's not my style.
Blades are supposed to heal up right away, no matter what the wound. If the crystal's in one piece and the driver's alive, nothing can touch him. So why is she all bashed up?
That's just how the chips fell. It is what it is.
What it is a problem. It means if one of you kicks the bucket, you both do.
You told me that a good driver always protects his blade. So that's what I'll do. I'm gonna protect her.
Easier said than done, kid.
Listen, Pyra, she saved my life, brought me back from the dead, so I won't die again. I've got to live, for her sake, until we get to Elysium, at least. We can make it together.
Rex, you mean?
Going to Elysium.
Just
I can't
happens
let
to be
that
there,
stand.
standing there waiting, nobody questions it.
won't
Doing the barrel,
do.
just let him walk there.
A bunch of amateurs stealing the show? The script exists for a reason.
Akos.
Please speak only when you're spoken to.
I guess he's old,
traitor.
maybe he just doesn't see him. He doesn't seem to be, like, responding at all.
Nia, you're one of the baddies now, you villain.
You know that? Nia's a baddie.
I didn't betray anyone.
Then why do you stand with them? You think that is where you belong?
But I...
Who are these goons?
Torna. They're trying to get their hands on Pyra.
Torna?
Akos, just tell us what you're here for.
Well, the Aegis, of course. I just had to come and see the leading lady with my own eyes.
Jin put you up to this.
Well deduced. Oh, by the way, his orders were to deal with you in whatever manner I see fit. So, you know what that means.
He wouldn't. You're lying.
Why the surprise? Did you think he would still care about you? Oh, to live in your reality.
Ow!
Well, well. Your part in this play is coming to an end. So, time for you to shuffle off the stage.
What's wrong?
I know the name Torna. They've taken the lives of too many drivers, including some of my crew. Good people. Rumor says it's because they're collecting core crystals. So, if this Akos is one of them... You! Zuo! Get everyone out of the village!
Yes, sir.
You ready?
Ready.
Got it. Thanks for
Okay,
this.
boss time.
No problem.
It'll be tough. His blade, Obrona, she can manipulate the ether in the air. It lets him counter elemental attacks by generating fields of the opposing element.
Finally! A decent opponent for a change. Let's go!
This is one of the few Xenoblade 2 songs I don't love. It's called Deathmatch with
Let's show
Torna.
'em a thing or three.
We can
It's
do this
fine,
together.
it's just not one of my favorites. Yes, okay, this is the chain attack explanation. Okay, so now...
Clever?
Oh, he's not gonna break. I was gonna try and teleport him first, that's fine. So he starts off with a water orb, so we want to hit them with fire.
Hit it, no!
Flame Nova!
Tora, keep up!
Go! Tora, right on time!
It really doesn't matter, because I'm not going to be able to use chain attacks to their full potential for a while anyway, because Tora just only has the one blade right now.
Let's keep it up! Go for it!
Prominence, revolt!
Tora, keep up!
Poppy, Tora, right on time! No panic! Storm!
I think that was too early. It's fine. Yep, it was.
Nia's turn! Here I
At
come!
your service.
Ready or go not!
Chain attack, finish.
You've got nowhere to go back.
Now let's show you what it really means!
Anchor shot!
I just make use of it.
I missed! Gotcha! Oh, no, you don't! Thanks for that.
Let's go!
You don't look all that strong to me.
Double spinning head!
You think you're clever?
Yeah! Rolling smash!
Abrona!
Yeah! Yeah! No effect?
Poppy with the tech master palm.
Yeah!
I can flow of that.
Or I guess I could do him and then Korra. That's fine, that works.
I'm getting fired up!
Quick and hard.
Flash of steel!
Revitalize.
He shielded that, but technically I shielded his, so it's fine. Neither of those arts toppled him. I feel cheated.
You think you're
I
clever?
feel slighted.
Shadow cut.
So I believe opposite to lightning is earth. It might be wind, but I'm pretty sure it's earth. I think ice is the opposite to wind.
Clever? You think you're clever?
I mean, not that it matters. He's about to die. Honestly, I could probably just do this. Yep.
Getting better. Followed the script.
Hear that, Akos? You're not the only one who can use a blade special. I got them too, asshole.
Such an honor, sharing a stage with the legendary Aegis! Huh? Why would the driver?
It seems that they're taking each other's damage somehow.
Oh, look at that. Red sparkles. I wonder where that shows up in a different
that
Xenoblade game, and if it could be signifying
Is a
anything.
mere mortal right now. In that case, a little more damage, and she'll be easy to deal with. Pyra!
You know, it's kind of impressive he didn't pass out there, but made her pass out.
Kids these days, I swear, can't leave you alone for a minute.
Could use a hand.
Leave it to me. I'll take this dog down.
What's happening?
What? The ether flow's disturbed. How am I supposed to deflect now?
You and your fancy moves. You lack grit.
Just too many of these bit players.
That was a pretty smooth roll, to be honest.
Abrona, perhaps it's time for another tale.
Sure.
Pyra! Pyra! Pyra!
How is she?
She's not badly hurt. Dromark thinks she just needs rest.
That's good to hear.
Maybe. I used too much power again.
Hey, Rex. Know what the difference is between me and that Akos fella?
Well, he's a bad guy, trying to get Pyra. And you're... not?
I mean, he's only a, like,
Thanks for the vote of
teenager, and
confidence.
a young teenager, so,
I
like,
told you that
him
we
not
were
being the
different.
smartest kid on the block is fine.
My crew at the village, we think we're fighting for justice. But a just fight? I'm telling you now, there's no such thing. What people call justice, it's just an excuse to fight. War is war. The more you stand up for yourself, the more people want to fight you. Before you know it, you're in a war. Listen, all I'm saying is, we've got our fight, and he's got his.
But what he's doing is...
Yeah, it's bad. But war ain't about right and wrong.
Yes, I know. I'll plug you in shortly. I'm literally about to end the stream. Calm down.
Power can take many different fingers on the heart of its wheel. If we don't use our power just because we're scared of it, we're done for. As for who's right and who's wrong, no one knows for sure. So all we can do is protect what's important.
I think I understand.
We all got our own war, kid.
My... war?
I believe that's the end of the cutscenes.
Good morning.
Pyra! Feeling better?
Yeah, I slept so much.
Good. Glad to hear.
Also, Nia's got something to talk to you about.
She does?
Yeah. Go ahead, Nia.
Rex, I want you to come help me.
Come where?
To Van Damme. I need to tell him about my past with Akos and all that lot.
Ah, sure. If you'd like me to, I will.
Thanks.
Nia originally said she was going to go alone, but I said maybe it'd be better if you went along too.
Maybe I should explain. Van Damme, he kind of scares me a bit.
Funny, that'll end up being your family name. Not for that fandom, but your descendants. But anyway, I am going to call it here. Like I said, I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. Over 2.5 hours, so that's a pretty good amount for me. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys had fun. I had fun. Please like and subscribe. I need all the help I can get, and I will see you guys later. Bye.